Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast being brought to you by the National Association of Elementary School Principals.
Hey, welcome back to the NAESP Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast with Andy, Jacks and Hamish Brewer, two fellows with the Center for Innovative Leadership. Andy is an elementary principal at Ashland Elementary in Manassas, Virginia. And me, Hamish, I'm a middle school principal at the Fred Lynn Middle School in Woodbridge, Virginia. The Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast is all about real school leaders doing real work across the country right now. How are they overcoming obstacles in unique and innovative ways? And what can we learn from each other, their insight and their experiences to take back into our school leadership? Make sure you subscribe to us, like us, and share this to keep up with the conversation around innovative leadership.
That's right. Today, our guest is the Curtis Slater, all the way from Minnesota. He's the proud principal of Wyoming Elementary School in, is it Wyoming, Minnesota?
Wyoming, Minnesota.
All right, so make sure you follow Kurt at @Slater_Curtis_, two underscores in there. Today, what's that? Two. There you go. Today, Curtis will be sharing how he is leading change through the messages that we send to our students and the community, as well as how he is redesigning his learning spaces. So, welcome to our show, Kurt.
Hey, I'm so proud to hang out with two brothers from another mother. It's awesome to be with you guys.
That's right. So before we start, I want to see some shoes. So, and remember, we're doing
shoes?
We're doing video and audio to this whole thing. So,
my MO is I love shoes. I love colorful shoes, and so every day at school, I challenge the kids to pick a color, and then I make sure whatever tie I'm wearing or overshirt I'm wearing matches my shoes. And I have to grab this because I'm super proud of what my staff and kids did for me, but they know how much I love shoes. So when I had a chance to go to the national conference, they bought me some Wyoming shoes, personalized them with Nike. So it has Wyoming, and we're the Wildcats, so it said "Go Wildcats" on the other side. So once your kids find out what you're passionate about, it's amazing how quickly your staff kind of buys into it and recognizes what we love.
That's right. Yes. And are those like size 25 shoe or something, or what is that?
They're size 16s, and I don't feel bad for me because I have a 21-year-old son that has size 18. So wow. If you want to see some clown shoes, just come by me. But I still, the kids love to put my shoes inside their shoes, and then they kind of walk around to see what big shoes we feel every day, and the passion that we bring every day for our kids. So.
Man, so well, that's next level shoe game, and everybody at my school knows I like my J's and I like my shoes. So much respect for your shoe game right there. And I heard you're quite the fisherman too.
Well, I try to fish, and Hamish, you got to tell me what shoe you're looking for because my son is now into buying and selling these some shoes. So I have some pictures I could send you. So you'll have to tell me what size you're looking for, and I'll see what I can do. But yeah, you have to love fishing if you're from Minnesota. That's just the way the world works. But down here, I'm going to bring some to the national conference, but I actually have some fishing lures to help all of you people that don't know how to fish. This is a magical lure that I got printed up for some more principals when I connect to them. So I don't have business cards. I have fishing lures that I'll be handing out at NAESP.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Andy, what do you say we get started and get rolling on this and jump into this amazing video? And let's learn all about what our man here has to share.
Yeah, and that's right. For all you listeners and viewers out there, what we're going to do is we try to make sure we see pictures or videos from the schools so that you get a better understanding. Everybody can talk about it, but it's different also to see it as well. So, Kurt, we're going to play this. We'll share it, and so they can see us as well as hear us while we actually watch the video too. So they'll be able to see all of it at the same time. And we'll just roll through it. So as it's going, whatever you see, just reference it, talk about it, share with us whatever you'd like to share. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, so here we go.
So as Andy gets that ready to go for the listeners, our school, again, is just located about 25 minutes north of Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's a small community, blue collar. We have Polaris Factory in town here, but our school is, our mascot's the Wildcats, and what do Wildcats do? They roar. So part of my message always with kids is go Wildcats. And so you'll see that on the
I got to interrupt you. Let's hear how you really say it, Kurt. Come on now.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Well, so that's why I usually say is go Wildcats. But if it's my DJ voice on Friday Call Out, this is what I like to do. I'm like, hey, Wildcat fans, it's Mr. Slater with the Friday Call Out. We had a wonderful day at school this week. We had a chance to thank a police officer. We had an opportunity for our high school kids to come back and tell us all about the great things. And then I end by saying, go Wildcats. And what's crazy about it is I have kids that tell me that is one of their highlights of Friday Call Out. It's at 5:30 on Fridays, and parents put it on speakerphone so the kids can kind of say it to you. So outside of our school, we have this year we started a free little library donated by a community, and kids use it all the time. What kind of message does your family get when they walk into your school? We work with Partners in Learning out of San Diego, and they've created some amazing graphics for us. The reason I took video of this is that it's showing you a little bit of what our schools look like, and this summer we're going to be under construction. But I'm really all about the messages we send our kids, what kind of environment. So the welcome office, what do we call our office? And why do we call it the office? I mean, many of us know that it's not an office of any sort. So it should be called Customer Service Central. It should be called the Wildcat Central Office, but just removing office in any possible way might be one of our challenges for next year, to tell our families what we care about. The other thing is that every year we buy shirts for our students. Again, we're the Wildcats. We're a PBIS school, so we have amazing PTA that raises tons of money for us. So whatever vision we have, they support it. Right there, you're going to see the Partners in Learning Outstanding Wildcats. We have Roar tickets. Kids can earn those tickets every week. Every 2 weeks, the class has a drawing, so we have 25 classrooms. And then we pick one Wildcat out of the drawing. So everyone has a chance. It's not about the student that gets the most work done. It's not about getting straight A's, but it's just that opportunity of showing respect and kindness to each other every day. Those signs that are up there right now, I challenged our staff of what quote would you like to see on the wall that we should be reading every day. And here's some of the ones that people wrote down on a Post-it note. Then I worked again with a company to get those created and have hung them all over our school. So as you walk in, we have a fish tank in our office. Probably the top thing that parents and kids love to stand while they wait for their child is to look at the fish. What does your welcome area look like when you have people that come in for visitor sign-in? So we take pictures of all the great things going on so they feel like they're part of it. As we go towards the back, this is going towards the back of my office, you're going to see a standing desk that is an old computer cart. Actually, it's an old typewriter cart that I turned into a standing desk. And part of my challenge this year has been to get out of my office, and I learned a lot of this at the National Distinguished Principal. I need to be out of my office. So my office looks like kind of a workbench at home. It's where I get work done in the morning and at the end of the day. But the majority of the time I try to get out into the classrooms, in the hallways with my walking desk. Still working on that. Can get better at that every day. One of the things I ask myself all the time when I walk down my halls, would I want to go to school there? This is our copy machine. Right above the copy machine, you're going to see a sign. Or maybe I missed that sign, but it really goes back to that they don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that a lot of time we get stuck on our packets. I'd like to shut the copy machine off some days and really just let kids learn. You're seeing right now is our media center that's going to get a full remodel. It is no longer going to be called the media center. We are bringing a makerspace concept into there. We're bringing flexible grouping into there. And it's really going to be called either the Innovation Center or the Wildcat Learning Center, or we haven't figured a title on it, but we want to take in all of these great ideas and bring it into the center of our school, which is the media center right now, and create the space where the kids are excited, all the way from green screen technology, touchcast, to 3D printers, to coding, to a flexible learning space where they can just sit and read and hang out with their friends, and where we can also as staff collaborate with each other and create a space that they belong. So we have a makerspace area that we've written grants for and all of those great things, but you know, we're not using as much as possible. Right there, you're seeing a little bit around our PBIS where our matrix. And again, how do you ask kids? You know, I love that some of the things that people are doing around bullying, but isn't bullying, like especially in the elementary schools, really about just poor social skills versus kids understanding the power or lack of power? So, you know, the video is going a lot quicker than I can speak, boys. I'm working hard here. This is a great activity.
Pause anytime.
Yeah, good.
Pause that right there for a minute. This was an activity that our second grade teachers took on after we talked a little bit about when parent-teacher comes to conferences, where is their voice in the process? So many people come to parent-teacher conferences and no longer do we need to talk to them about handing in their assignments or these things that they can grab online or with our information center. So what they did is that they asked parents to describe their child without using the child's name, and then talking about the qualities that they have. And they hung this up in the hallway. I have never watched more kids interact with this and read each letter from a parent and trying to figure out, did my mom and dad say that about me? What did I accomplish this year? And more parents stopped by and just said, thanks for giving us a voice. So it really goes to that whole understanding of what voice do we give parents at conferences? Because if we can get them into the building, they better have a voice at that conference, because if it's just like church where it's just sit and get, they're going to walk out and say, why did I attend that? I felt like you were lecturing me how to raise my kid. And we're really moving past that at Wyoming Elementary. And I'm excited to watch teachers grow, understanding that this has to be a relationship that they want to come to, knowing that they know their child best and how do we learn from them. So really giving that opportunity.
And, you know, something I really like about it, that's so powerful, giving parents voice. We're always looking for ways to give parents voice. You just gave the audience a tangible, real opportunity to do the same thing in their school. 2 questions for you around it. First question, what is written on the card so the audience can take that and apply it at their school? But also, man, I could imagine, what if a parent wrote a statement about a teacher and you hung that up, how powerful that could be too. Like just that voice about, you know, being the difference. So, fantastic.
Hamish, are you follow me on Twitter? Because that's exactly what we did. First thing we did is that you'll find this pinned on my Twitter one, because it's one that a lot of teachers have contacted me about, and they can find all of that right on Twitter. But I also can send it up for your audience, because it just kind of lists the directions. But then for teacher appreciation, and we all know as great leaders, we don't recognize teachers just one week. Just like it's our, you know, my wife. I love my wife to death. And if I only recognize her on our anniversary, I have to do it every week, every day, to do those little things. But I also have to remember on our anniversary, it better be big. It better be, you know, something big. And that's why I consider Teacher Appreciation Week, is that opportunity to go a little bit big with it. So we did that same activity, and I don't know if it's on this, but I can throw it up on Twitter. But our PTA did it around our teachers. And then we posted it in our front lobby area that kind of scanned through, and it says Wall of Fame. And it might even be on the beginning of the video, Andy. I don't know if you can back it up, but if not, I can throw it out there. But again, it was so cool, because I put that bulletin board on wheels, and I wheeled it down into the teacher's lounge, which we call the honor room at our school, and watching teachers read it and all of those things. But again, it never says the person's name. It just talks about the qualities that our teachers bring every day to our school. So great idea. We already stole it, and we used it for our Teacher Appreciation Week. And to be honest, it's still up in the lobby. I move it around so everyone has a chance to read it.
So I think that's fantastic. Well, I think we'll come back to that as we finish this up. We'll talk more about how you're sharing and recognizing people and helping the community help to recognize people, not just all you too.
Yeah, so just kind of scanned over. One of the things, we stop right there, and you can go, and I know you can't go back, but one of the other things I challenge is how often do we recognize kids for their accomplishments? We've really started to recognize classes. So just going back just a little bit more, there's a Wildcat with some badges on there. There you can see it. And the class compliment. So when we have guest teachers, we don't call them subs at our school. I ask our support staff and everyone else to call them guest teachers, because no one can really be a substitute for somebody else. But you can see class compliments, and the teachers make badges, and these badges are earned by the class. One of our top badges to earn is the golden vacuum cleaner, and took an old vacuum cleaner, I spray painted it gold with some spray paint, and the night custodian gives that out to the cleanest classroom. Well, when the class earns it, they get that badge, which kind of goes on these posters, which is outside of your classroom. Again, it just recognizes that we can have accomplishments individually. We can accomplish things as a class, as a grade level, and as a school. So we really try to put that community culture piece in place, is that when you have a guest teacher, you have the ability to get a class compliment. And the guest teachers say our culture here at our school, they would sub 10 times in this building versus some of the other districts or buildings that they work for. So, you know, some of the hurdles with all of this is when we ask ourselves, what's the last message our kids see when they walk out that door? And I'm hoping the last message our kids see me out at bus duty, waving goodbye to them, giving them high fives, all of those different things. This is something I have in my office because it is truly what I believe is that some of our greatest accomplishments are things that people said that we would not accomplish. I had the pleasure to meet Dr. Andy Jacks out at the National Convention, or out at the National Award for National Distinguished Principal. And that is when I realized one more time, it is not about the title you have. It's not about the books you read. It's not about how much money you have in your professional development. It matters the passion you bring every day to know that we have the ability as leaders to do our very best. And there was a quote that I just put out on Facebook today, and I wanted to read that because it is one of those things that's just kind of resonated with me around sometimes where people will say about our reputations and about our character. And it comes from a very amazing basketball coach, John Wooden. And the quote says this: be more concerned with your character than your reputation, because your character is what you really are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Again, by John Wooden. And I think that goes back. Every single day I have the ability to be Mr. Slater, go Wildcats, let's have a great day. Or I could be fake. I could stand out there and pretend like I like to wear shoes that match my shirt. But the kids know. Today it was so funny because one of the classes, one of the things I do, I'm a tall guy, so I give differentiated high fives. So I make sure that every kid is going to be a challenge to get it, but no one necessarily is going to be easy. And one of my first grade students says, there's no high fives in the hallway. And I looked around and said, who made that rule? And like, the teacher said that. And so I just put my hand down and said, all right, today's low fives. And I went way down to the ground.
Yes.
And, I didn't want to call the teacher. I was like, when are you making up rules for us? But it was one of those things where it's not going to stop me because it's a way for me to interact with kids. And some people say, hey, kids aren't going to get high fives when they go get a job. What skill are you teaching them? What I'm teaching them is that I love them. And that the best way I can love them is by having that human touch.
Yes.
And for a lot of kids, that's a high five, a fist bump.
Yes.
For some, it's a hug. But when you're a tall guy, those are the awkward hugs. So we do the side hugs. But again, it's a way that I want my students to know I care.
I just want to let you know, Curtis, I love your passion. I love your fire. It's just, it shows out, it breathes. And I can already see what that must look like in your school. I love what you talked about, love. I think we need to infuse more love back into our schools. I work hard to do that myself each and every day, and to hear other principals doing it. I love the idea of the differentiated high five. Like, that's awesome. My high five is not abbreviated because I'm shorty. So I don't do so well with that. But look, Curtis, what could you tell leaders and tell our listeners out there? What's a recommendation when it's all said and done? What's a recommendation you could give to our listeners out there and other leaders?
I think the recommendation that I have found a little bit is balance. I have three amazing kids and a wife, and just how we go about and we give our all at work and making sure we don't take too much to home with us. But I think the other thing is that the recommendation is don't be afraid to do the things that we're always told not to do. Don't be afraid to go have that barbecue in the middle of an apartment complex and make some hot dogs up where people could say, what are you doing? Don't be afraid to call a family in and do an intervention with them to say, hey, I'm really concerned about, what's going on, and we're here to help. Because I think we've always been told, know your role. And I think we have to blow up that role. I think we have to blow up that role that you might read in a textbook, or you might go to a university and go through the program and they say to do all these things. But I will be honest with you that if I have a child and I know that child's walking in the rain, I'm going to pick that child up. I might have someone tell me don't give that child a ride to school, but I just have to do what's right. I'll go in front of whatever attorney, wants to say don't do those things. But also, tell your story. Don't forget that social media can be a really positive thing. Yeah, there's times that people rip on Mr. Slater on Facebook, but I'm drowned out that negative noise. They're not going to define who I am and what I believe. And the last bit of advice, God, have fun doing what you're doing. And if you don't, move on. Life is too short. This job is too stressful not to walk in every day excited about the chance you have to make the difference in the life of a child and our staff. And sometimes we don't see the recognition that we have in our staff, because at first they're like, well, this isn't going to work, but it does work. And when you're so affectionate with kids and show them that you care, other people want to join in. And for me, a highlight this year is I have a first-year, second-grade teacher that came down and said, hey, I'm having a baby in 2 weeks. I know this is going to sound bad, Mr. Slater, but I can't be bored all summer. I'm excited to spend time with my baby, but can we start a book club? And it was like, I'm not kidding you, Hamish. It was like within like an hour after reading your tweet about we should be defined as the leaders that we're building around us. It's not about just what we're doing, but when we see teachers take on leadership roles. And I actually started crying, you know, and the teacher looked at me and said, did I say something sad or wrong? And I'm just like, no, I'm just so thankful that you want to start a book club, and I'll purchase the books or whatever we have to do. But it's a highlight to know that I'm around other people, that it's contagious, that we can do this work and we have to learn. And the best thing about book clubs isn't what the author says, it's the reflection from the people that are reading it. How do we take that idea and make it ours? Because you can't take something necessarily, like I shared that activity, and some of the listeners might go back and say, hey, teachers, we have to do this teacher voice or parent voice thing. And if you just try to duplicate it without bringing your style, guess what? It's going to fail. I can't ride a skateboard. I can't run around giving skateboards out going, hey, be like Hamish, because that's your style. And I think that's the thing. Find your style, go with your passion, let them see it, and the rest all falls into place.
Yeah, you know, Andy and I have a phrase for that, you know, we call it, Andy and I came up with this phrase we call green light leading, you know, giving your teachers, giving the people around you the green light. And Curtis, you're right. You know, you have to find your style. It has to be you, because I'd rather fail being the best version of me than trying to be the best version of someone else. So, look, what's up next for you? What's coming up next for Mr. Slater? What's on the cards for Mr. Slater?
You know, what's on the cards is I'm excited to finish the school year strong. We have 15 days left to have the opportunity to change the life of a child. And then I have to move out of our building. So we're fully under construction. So I'm super excited. I'm going to be going out to the national conference in Spokane. I can't wait to hang out with you guys and other amazing leaders out there that are doing this work every single day. And you know what's next for me is just continuing to make the Wildcats the best Wildcats that we can be. Yeah, there's a day that I want to write my book. I have the title and everything, but I think that it's also the right time. And then the other thing I love to do is I work a lot with schools in the Midwest around PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention Support. And I have a passion for it because I grew up in a dysfunctional family. So all of the love and passion that I needed came a lot from school, and I needed that positive environment in order for me to shine. So I have a real soft heart for schools that are trying to create those cultures that aren't necessarily natural for other people to recognize the positives. But again, my number one go-to is and I would say to anyone out there is connect with me on Twitter. I love doing chats when I can. I love just reading when I have a chance to read. But really the social media, the Twitter part has been seeing a picture for me says 10,000 words, and that's where I'm able to take some of these ideas and run with them.
Curtis, can you tell the audience where we can find you on social media? What's your hashtag? What's your at symbol, those things? Where can we find you?
Yeah, probably my main professional one is going to be at Slater, SLATER _ Curtis, CURTIS _ if you want to follow some of the things that we're doing at Wyoming Elementary, you can on Facebook, just type in Wyoming Wildcats and it'll pop up around some of our things that we're doing with our kids. Again, principals, if there are principals out there that are not doing the good news call of the day, I was doing it way before it was called the good news call of the day. Really have changed it not only to students. I have a staff one that we're doing one for staff, but it's so interesting when people like get a hashtag and then like, oh, that's what a concept. But I'll tell you what, you want to make a difference, go grab a bus driver. Go do a good news call of the day for them. Call their loved ones and tell them how much you appreciate them driving bus. Think about the people that never get the recognition. This morning, I just was kind of like in one of those moods where I'm like, I'm going to do something different. I went and put on a little hairnet and I served breakfast to the kids. And I looked at my head lunch lady and said, Patty, you go above and beyond every day. I want you to go find 10 minutes and go call your sister, your brother, your daughter. I'm going to serve the kids lunch or breakfast. And just so you know, big options this morning, cinnamon bagel or strawberry bagel. I had it under control with a juice box and had a chance to see 200 kids, and they're all like, Mr. Slaver's serving breakfast. And it made my day, but it also made one of my employees' days to have a little bit of time just to take a deep breath and go enjoy the moment.
So a couple of things. One is one thing you mentioned earlier about was getting out of your office and how hard that is, you know. And I know for so many people that's really tough, and we want to do it. It's really, but you just mentioned a few things that you do specifically, and I know Hamish does, and I know I do, to get you there. If you just say, I'm going to get out just to get out, I think that's really tough for people because you got a million things as a principal to do. But if you say, I'm going to get out and do this activity, like feed breakfast to the kids, or, you know, I think that makes it a lot more purposeful, and it puts it like on our agenda, and that makes it mean more, so we actually do it, you know? Because I think so many people have that same mentality, but they just get so bogged down with the daily grind of all the tasks we have to do as a principal.
You know, and I think that, you know, both of you brought up a really good point. I love that. Is it go? What was the green thing again? I missed it.
Yeah, green light.
Green light leadership. Yep. I always tell principals this: have a why. Like when I go out to recess, I don't just go to recess just to hang out. I have a why. Like we've been having some issues here in Minnesota. It's been a kind of a miserable spring, snow, rain, this and that. So yesterday I went in the closet of our Phi Ed closet and I found this huge volleyball. I don't even know where we got it, but it's just sitting there. Well, I pumped it up. I brought 2 volleyball stands, and it was awesome because my 2 college kids came back from college. I'm like, hey, you guys got to help me. We're going to bring these two old volleyball stands, put them outside, and we started having team volleyball. Nice. But what it was showing my outdoor staff to, like, if you give a purpose to the kids out there, they'll do something with it. So today I knew that it's inside rain day. We all know elementary principals. But if you have that why, I'm not putting a standing desk out there just so that I'm visible. I'm not putting a standing desk out there because it's going to give me an opportunity to get some of the paperwork done I need. But it's also going to, like, when I usually push my standing desk, it's to bathroom C, because that's where we have the most clogs, we have the most issues. But then it also shows my staff, like, hey, he is like solving this problem with this positive solution, and no one knows why I'm out there. No one knew that I just went to the gym before you guys' call, and showed them we don't have to play dodgeball. You know, I'd love to play dodgeball with you guys out at the National in Spokane, but I showed the teachers, like, challenge the kids to try to make a basket. We'll put this team against that team. We have Dairy Queen ice cream cones. Those kids threw harder, longer, and farther, trying to put that stupid little Nerf ball into that basket, and we were counting, and we went for 7 minutes. Not one kid hit my eye, not one kid like, hey, they're picking on me. Right. But we just gave it a different target. So have that why. You know, just don't go out and do it and just be like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't know. I read it in a book, or, you know, Dr. Andy Jacks put it on Twitter, so I'm just doing what, you know, we talked a little bit while you were on mute, but if you have the why and you're also solving some problems along the way, that's where we're working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think we can start wrapping this up. Hamish, I got a bunch of takeaways here besides the specific strategies I think that principals could do, like the board with all highlighting the teachers, but also just this whole idea of what messages you send in your school, how you name. That's something you keep bringing up, is how you name your learning spaces. What do you call your office? What do you call your labs or your rooms? And then also make sure that you give voice to parents, whether it's at conferences or anything else, so they can help share how great your teachers are. And you had mentioned a teacher at one point. Any teachers you want to give a shout out to that are listening?
You know, I just can't tell you. I just want to give a shout out to all the teachers at Wyoming Elementary that have picked up social media and have started to figure out, like, how they can make the Twitter their why. Not just to tweet out, there's not a lot of followers, but how they can learn off Twitter, how they can learn off Instagram. Again, I don't think Pinterest gets enough credit. That a lot of teachers not necessarily might not have the same conversation on Pinterest, but they get some ideas and then they make it theirs. Mm-hmm. So really the shout out is to the Wildcat staff that go above and beyond, knowing that they have the difference every day to make that positive difference. And one of the big things that we're doing here this year is with Seesaw and also with Facebook. Just really, like, that's the way we've reached out to our parents. And so all the Wildcat staff, they know what they're doing and how we're getting things done. So I don't have anyone specifically, but I do have a specific shout out to Miss Christina Jacks, who by far is not only, and again, not only is she an amazing lady, but the amount of support that she gives to you, because I know that I can't do this job without the love of my wife, listening to me sometimes, going with the crazy ideas when I'm going to get slimed or when my hair's going blonde or all these other things. But again, to all the administrators out there that have a significant other, that is their rock. And so that is my shout out to the spouses that let us do this crazy job, knowing that we can never shut off, no matter where we go on spring break, when we go to the grocery store, when we run into a kid, we are going to stop everything we know to make sure that kid knows that they're important to us or that staff member is important. So shout out to all of our loved ones that know that we need them as much as they need us, if not more.
Hey, Andy, I want to hear one more roar from this guy.
Yeah, let's go. Let's wrap it up with a big
wrap it up.
Roar out the wild.
Hey, NAESP, remember, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Go Wildcat!
I love it. The energy is what's all about. Bringing it, whether it's your
let it go,
your character, bringing it every day for all of your kids. So thank you so much, Kurt, for sharing with us your insight as to the way you're being innovative and just bringing your community all together as a school leader. For all of you listening, there you go, the roar. Respect, on task, achieve, and responsibility. So don't forget to go to our webpage at nesp.org/center for innovative leadership to sign up and share your story with us. Keep the discussion going with us on Twitter. For me, it's _Andy Jacks, and for Hamish, it's Brewer HM. See our past videos and podcasts out there on our YouTube channel, and we put the podcast out there as well. So I hope you really enjoyed our show today. Thank you, Kurt, for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks, Hamish. Thanks, Andy, for all you guys do for kids every day and all the energy you bring.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, don't stagnate.
Innovate.
Innovate. That's right. Have a great day, guys.